You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome.
Good morning. My name is Mary Klein. I'm one of the licensed practitioners here at Centers for Spiritual Living, and I have the great honor of facilitating meditation this morning. So I would like you to relax a second. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. So take a few moments now to go within, to allow your attention to turn away from the world around you and turn to that world within, that awesome consciousness that you are. Take a few moments to allow the chatter in your mind to slow down. You will notice you have a committee at work at times in your mind, and ask that committee to simply be quiet. They can be adjourned for a while. So as they quiet, we turn to this time of inner awareness, inner peace, inner quiet. We do that by taking 3 good, deep breaths. As you inhale fully on the first breath and release, you release any intention of the past, letting it go, letting it dissolve, breathing in a deep breath again. As you exhale, relieve any intention of the future, any intention of what will be tomorrow in the next few minutes. And on that third deep breath, simply allow your focus to come into the moment. Breathing into this time, this place, this moment. And now notice where your thought center is. Where are you thinking from? Are you thinking from your head? Let your mind focus on where your thought is coming from, where your I am seems to be located. And like a very gentle moving drop of molasses, let it simply move down from your head, down your neck, through your throat, aware of the I am moving down from your throat to your upper chest, and slowly settling into your heart. And as your I am settles into your heart, take a few moments to look around and see how it feels. Let your imagination take you to the center of your heart. Is it tight and constrictive? Is it open and roomy? Most of our hearts are the size of our fists, so curling up into your heart is a small and constrictive thing. Using your imagination now, we're going to begin to expand your heart. Set yourself sitting in that space. And as you breathe in a good deep breath and you exhale, on the exhale, imagine using your hands to begin to push the front wall of your heart outward, stretching it forward, allowing it to expand out at least to your rib cage. As it begins to stretch, you notice it is malleable. It is soft and it stretches and moves easily. Is there any tension as you stretch it? If there is, simply use your hands to smooth it over, running light and love through your hands into the wall of your heart as it opens and spreads out. Spread it at least arm's length in front of you. In taking a nice deep breath, settling into your heart, looking at the expansion of your heart space in front of you. Now turn your attention to the back wall of your heart. Using your hands on each exhale of breath, begin stretching the back wall of your heart, stretching it out to your ribs, your spine, out past your spine, at least arm's length behind you, or as far as you choose. It's your heart. You get to make it as big as you want. And then turning to the right, begin the right wall of your heart out to your ribs and beyond. Breathing in, breathing out, pressing out your arm's length. Now turn your attention to your left heart wall. Begin moving the left heart wall out and past the ribs and out at least arm's length to the tip of your fingers. As you're reaching out, as you inhale and exhale. Or you can allow it to grow larger. It's your heart. You get to choose. Now you find yourself in the center of this awesome expanded heart, your heart. Expanded all the way around you, out as far as you have chosen. Allow it to stretch as far out as the heart of the universe center, as far out as you can imagine. Now, with yourself floating in the center of this expanded heart, notice the top and bottom of your heart and begin to expand them as you exhale. Let the bottom stretch down all the way to the center of the earth, into the heart of Mother Earth, until it touches the source of everything physical in your body and in your life, until you are held close by the heart of Mother Earth. Now, from this space, you're truly in the center of an awesome heart space. This is your heart. Take a look around and see what's there. Notice, are there areas that are particularly light and bright? Notice the colors. Notice the dark, shadowy places. Are there old hurts and old wounds? Take a few moments to see who else is there. Where are the symbols of the people who share your heart space? There may be many pictures. There may be many memories, experiences, or places. Just look around and notice what's here. Returning to the center of this awesome heart, allow yourself to look around once more. Then become aware that behind you and above your head, there is an incredibly wonderful, beautiful window. Behind that window is an awesome golden white light. As you choose, open that window and allow your heart to be flooded with golden white light. Allow that light to move into all the spaces of your heart. All you need to do is open the window and be receptive. Seeing the golden white light, imagining it, feeling it, let it permeate all parts of you. As it floods your heart, as it floods those beautiful bright golden faces and floods those darker, heavier corners, bringing bright golden light. It fills and touches all the memories of the symbols of the people in your life, in the present, in the past, In the future, that golden light fills everything. Continue bringing it fully and completely. Just sit for a moment, feeling that light all around you and all around your loved ones. When you feel you have drawn in as much of the golden white light as you can possibly hold, bring in more. Your heart is infinite. The golden white light of divine love is infinite. It is your unity with God. It is your unity with universal life. Simply enjoy. Let your heart be nourished by the golden white light. There's nothing else you need to do. And now, when you feel you've had spent enough time in this space, as you choose, right now, begin to allow your heart to reduce back to the size that it is most comfortable for you now. No judgment. And recognize there is an appropriate size for you now. Begin to notice, although you are a light being, you are also a physical being. You are becoming aware once again of the chair you're sitting in, aware of the feelings of the air on your skin, aware of the sound of my voice, aware of the world around you. And very gently, as you're ready, let your attention return to the world around you. You may open your eyes if you're comfortable now and move forward into this broadcast, knowing that all is well. And so it is.
You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, wholly welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, wholly welcome, wholly welcome.
Good morning. It's a beautiful Sunday here in St. George. It's going to be hot again today, but I'm not the weather reporter, so let's move forward. I'm Marina. I am your host for today. for our beautiful service that we have ahead of us. We really are delighted to have you here today and welcome you with our big open heart. So thank you for coming forward and joining us. We here at Centers for Spiritual Living St. George are an open, loving, and inclusive community that supports thinking creatively and living a deeply spiritual life. It's a beautiful place to learn new tools to enhance your spiritual journey. So we're glad to have you here with us. We like to share with you each Sunday a part of our vision and mission statements. Today, I would like to share our vision, which is part of the global vision for Centers for Spiritual Living. The overall international organization, and that vision is a world that works for everyone. Every one of us, for sure. We're having a little technical difficulties on the slide, so I'm just going to kind of move forward. You won't have the slide yet to go with what I'm saying, but we'll do the best we can. Again, I am your host,
Welcome.
and our tech, who is doing a good job trying to figure out the glitch with the slides, is Bill Smith. He's one of our practitioners. That beautiful image-filled meditation was done by Mary Klein, another of our practitioners, and she will also come in a bit to do our invocation. Today's musician is Mr. Alan Stanley. He's got a couple of really terrific songs for us. I think we'll probably be singing along in the background. He won't be able to hear us, but sing, 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 sing. The universe will hear ya. Our reading today, our sacred reading, will be done by Gwen Hadley. And of course, we're really excited to welcome Reverend Joe Kovach for the first of many regular speaking engagements with us. So we're really happy to have him on board. We will have an occasional guest speaker, but for the most part, we will have the continuity and wisdom and joy of having Reverend Joe with us most Sundays. So at this point, I would love to bring in Alan Stanley to do his first song. Hey, Alan.
Hello, Marina. Things seem to be working perfectly. Hello, everybody. Have a great day. We're going to get this in a second. There is a garden where dreams come true. A beautiful garden where God's grace blooms. There is a garden where everything grows. Such a beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything you've been dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true. A beautiful garden. That garden is you.
Knowing that God is all there is, knowing that there is one infinite power that operates throughout the universe, a single creative power that shines forth in and as and through everyone and everything in every place and every person. I know that everyone within the sound of my voice is a divine and perfect expression of that one. I know that every word spoken, every idea expressed, every spiritual connection uncovered is the activity of God itself and touches each person listening in his or her perfect way. I know this is God's love made manifest. I accept this with gratitude and joy in my heart. I know that this is the truth. And with this feeling of gratitude, I accept this goodness and say amen, and so it is.
So it is. So it is. Thank you, Mary. So we're going to put up some words. You can sing along if you like. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything you've been dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. Such a beautiful garden. That garden is you. I would like to invite Gwen in to present our sacred reading today. Hello,
Thank
Gwen.
you. Good morning, Alan. So my reading today, I'm taking from the Science of Mind magazine for this month. It's written by Dr. Edward Velum, and it's entitled Give More, Receive More. In his book, Letters to a Young Poet, Rainer Maria Rilke, the Austrian poet and novelist, writes, "For one human being to love another, that is perhaps the most difficult of all tasks. The ultimate, the last task and proof, the work for which all work is but preparation. I hold this to be the highest task for a bond between two people, that each protects the solitude of the other. This is the miracle that happens every time to those who really love. The more they give, the more they possess." The idea that we first must learn to love ourselves before we can love someone else comes to mind. It is an idea that became very popular during the New Age movement. But I doubt the accuracy of the opinion. And I tend to think that you and I, as we are, with all of our imperfections, have a valid and wanted contribution to make to the world. In other words, you and I can care about and support each other long before we have perfected self-love. Postponing the expression of loving kindness until we have mastered self-love may be a terrible idea. Imagine that everything we go through in life is preparation for relationships with others. As Rilke suggests, perhaps this is why Ernest Holmes instructs us to love people more dearly than we have ever loved before. Drop any inclination to coerce, compel, or suggest to anyone, and instead let warm inclinations toward others put us into situations where we can give and receive love. Indeed, Holmes invokes the law of attraction by affirming, "I desire to be loved. Therefore, I allow myself to love greatly, to feel warmly inclined towards people, to be interested in them and helpful on their behalf. I give as I wish to receive. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Gwen. So this song was actually written by Bob Dylan, but it's been covered by quite a diverse group of people, from Pete Seeger to Rod Stewart. So we're going to add to that today, and we're going to cover it at CSL St. George. So please sing along. In spite of what Marina said about me not being able to hear you, I can hear you. And we're looking for some 4-part harmony here. So let's do this deal. May God bless you and keep you. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb every rung. May you stay forever young. Forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surrounding you. May your hands, all right, I'm going to take this over. May your hands always be busy. May your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of changes shift. May you always sing your song and let your song be sung. May you stay forever young. Forever young. Now we harmonize. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever young. Namaste, my friends.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Marina.
I was singing. Did you hear me?
I heard you.
That was fun. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. Well, so far so good, eh? So I want to share with you our theme. I love our theme for the year, Living Everyday Wonder. It's been really fun to see how that unfolds and the different layers that come with living everyday wonder. This month, we're focusing on relationships. And today's talk with Reverend Joe is You and I Are We. And I'll tell you, we are CSLSG here, and we are so happy that our we now includes Reverend Joe. And his family. I am already in love with Joe and his family. They're delightful. His wife, Tony, is so sweet and connecting, and delightful children, Joe, who Joe's kids have grown up with CSL St. George, or not St. George, but CSL philosophies, and it shows, boy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And what a great song Ellen sang right there. That was great. And moves us right into the idea of staying forever young with relationships. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So thank you. And I'm excited because I get to talk more often, more weekly, instead of once a month, and just kind of hopping in and where it feels like kind of a crazy conversation when there's no buildup or continuation, she was saying. So I'm very excited. Good morning, my community. Good morning, St. George. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it's now or on a recording, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us as a center. And thank you for recognizing that God within. That's why we're all here, to live a freer, fuller, more expanded life. And today we're going to do that by talking about relationships. And as we do, we have to recognize that there's relationships everywhere. I mean, let's face it, you know, everywhere we go, we have relationships with our family, our neighbors, our communities that we live in, our spiritual communities, our work communities. And in the end, what we teach in Science of Mind and Spirit, that each and every relationship is ultimately a relationship with that of spirit, having a relationship with itself. In Science of Mind, Spirit, and religious science, we believe that there is only one God, and that is expressing in, as, and through all. So we're going to talk today about how that kind of shows up in our lives and how we recognize it in some places and how we may not recognize it fully in others, and that is all okay. And you're going to hear me say a million times, don't make yourself wrong. You're perfect just the way you are. Just stay open to the idea of learning something new. What's also important is the way that we relate to ourselves, and how that affects how we see others in the world. And recognizing that even though we may feel separated and an individual, that we are all divinely interconnected and inseparable. So another thing, these are kind of basic principles I'm just throwing out here, is that we cannot claim to love God while hating ourselves. That's really important. And many people come to this philosophy because we are all about healing the self first. We recognize that as we commune with what we call the God within and begin to love ourselves, that it's so much easier to love another. And we can't really kid ourselves by saying, well, I can love somebody else more than I love myself, because we can't give what we don't recognize, what we don't have for ourselves. So, and in like-mindedness, we can't declare that it is a just and equitable universe while we treat others unjustly and inequitably, right? So again, we have to pay attention to not just our thoughts and feelings, but how is it showing? How is it emanating from us? What are the results? Are we, if I'm saying, oh, I'm loving and I'm happy and grateful, how is that showing up? Is it being reflected back in our world to us as that? So this week, as we focus, as the focus is relationships we have with our friends and family and community, this includes not only the people that we know personally, but as well as those that we refer to as strangers. Okay, how we relate to strangers, how we encounter them, whether we're just going to see them walking down the street, do we meet eye contact? Do we give them a nod? Do we look them in the eye? Or maybe do I look down at them? That's all very telling. And so as we relate, how we relate, I would just say, to strangers is important, something to pay attention to, because it reflects where we're at consciously. Where are we at lovingly? And so even though we, excuse me, even when we may never see somebody again, whether like, you know, talking about a stranger, whether they just cross our paths for a minute or maybe a longer time in our lives, we recognize that they help us reveal what's inside. So there's kind of three main points that I wanted to discuss about this idea that you and I are we. And I've heard lately, and I've heard it for a while, but it seems to be coming up again now that the focus so much outside in the media is how we're treating each other. is that particularly Western culture has a sense of that rugged individualism, right? And the thoughts and the belief systems, the paradigms that cause us to believe and live as if, well, as if only like what we do as individuals in this, no, let me back that up. What we do in this teaching is only working on the individual as a whole. And that in Science of Mind and Spirit, that we focus on the individual and it has nothing to do with changing the world, only changing ourselves. And that is something that I want to recognize as an outdated belief. In one way, I will say it's not true, because we're finding the love of the divine within and then without. And in a way, maybe it is true because, again, we recognize our focus, our consciousness is our unique consciousness. So we do focus on the individual, ourself, but then we do turn it outward. Okay, so while the science of mind got shortened to science of mind, it originally was science of mind and spirit. And the movement for the last, I'm going to say 10 or so years, is to bring back that spirit sense. And that spirit meaning what we feel our consciousness is not just our own. We do have an individual awareness, but it is all, as I said at the beginning, the consciousness, the mind, the love, the body of God. And so we're going to take a look at that. And what Holmes says about this is that every person is an incarnation of God. And since each person is an individual, everyone is a unique incarnation. So incarnation simply means, let's just say person. You are a creation. You are a beloved being, a son or a daughter, as you wish, of the divine. And we are each unique, yet we are each divinely interdependent upon each other. Now, what does that mean? Well, think about it. If I have to depend on others, because I don't know about you, but I don't go out and hunt my food anymore. Okay, when I go to the gas station, I expect it's already there. I don't have to put it all together. Okay, all I have to do is pump it in. I don't make my own clothing. Again, I don't grow my own food. So we are interdependent upon each other. We rely upon each other. And that is a relationship that sometimes and often we simply overlook. Now, while we're interdependent, I also think it's important that we recognize and understand how we are interconnected. Okay? Everything that I do affects everyone else in some way, shape, or form, and vice versa. That what goes on over in Ukraine affects the whole world. Not just me as I look at it, it affects the whole world. So we're talking about, again, interdependence and interconnectedness. And a great example of this is the yin-yang symbol with the black and the white, and within the black, the circle is white. So it kind of shows how you can't have one without the other. The yin does not exist without the yang. And it takes both of them to represent the whole of God, okay, the whole of creation. And we're in all of that. There's nothing outside the circumference of God. Okay, so we're going to recognize the divine in ourselves and in every single relationship. And it's our consciousness that determines how that shows up for us. Do we see it as a consciousness of love, or do we see it through a consciousness of fear, maybe some biases, some prejudices? And that's the work that we do as individuals. And it's important as we look at relationships to see who we surround ourselves with. Okay? Because again, if we're all affecting each other, I want to be really clear and intentional about the energy, the consciousness that I'm in. Now, often we have opportunities to choose that, and sometimes we don't, meaning I can't choose every relationship at work. I go to work and there's other people there, and it's how we show up that matters there. Yeshua, or Jesus, surrounded himself with 12 disciples who he taught to go out into the world and continue to the work of elevating and inspiring and raising consciousness by acts of charity, of feeding the poor, of doing healings and praying. There were 13 of them total individuals, but collectively is how they did their work. And it's the same for us. Yes, in this Human form, I am physically, I feel and I see and experience things in an individual awareness. But I am so intricately connected to the whole of all that is going on. And within that, I think it's good to quote Jesus in this space where he says, Jesus said to him, "Thou shalt love thy Lord with the Lord thy God with thy whole heart and with thy whole soul and with thy whole mind. And the second is like to this: Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments dependeth the whole law and the prophets." That's huge to say something. On these two commandments, to love thyself and to love others as thyself. Everything depends on this. The whole law, meaning the movement, the action part of God, and the prophets, which is everything that is taught. And we're teaching in Science of Mind and Spirit to first do exactly what this is saying, to love thyself. Right? He didn't say love others first. He said love thyself. Love the Lord thy God. We are that God incarnate. So we are, I don't want to use jargon. We are that God showing up here in human form. Okay? If God is all things, then I must be a beloved expression of that. So as I love that within, I'm able to then love my neighbor, well, as we see outside of ourselves, and the neighbor reflects that. And remember, and it's from an unknown source, but I've heard the quote that says, "There are no strangers here, only friends you haven't met." I love that. It keeps that mind open. It keeps us really from seeing an other and just seeing another, meaning another expression of the divine in our lives. The second point I want to kind of bring to is, how do we then, if I'm recognizing, if I'm doing the work, if I'm praying and I'm studying and I'm becoming aware of myself, then how do I recognize, how do I serve the you that I see out there? And for this example, I think a great example is the story of the Good Samaritan, which comes from the Holy Bible. And I'm going to read it as it comes from there. So it's not my language. I'm just going to quote it here. So it says, it starts off, but wanting to justify himself, he asked Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" So who is the other? Jesus took up this question and said, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he fell into the hands of robbers. They stripped him, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. Now by chance a priest was going down the same road, but when he saw him, he passed on the other side. So too, when a Levite came to that spot and saw him, he passed by on the other side. But when a Samaritan on a journey came upon him, he looked at him and had compassion. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put him on his own animal, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii, which is money, and gave them to the innkeeper. He says, "Take care of him," he said, "and on my return I will repay you for any additional expense." Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers? "The one who showed him mercy," replied the expert in the law. Then Jesus told him, "Go and do likewise." Go and do likewise. So I'm not going to break down, because we could do a whole class on this entire parable. But why would I mention? Because we see this every day in our lives and we judge. And it's natural to judge. Again, let's not make ourselves wrong, but let's become more aware of those judgments. And are they serving us? How are they affecting us? And therefore, if it's affecting us, it's affecting others. So in short, there were a couple other people that went before the Samaritan and judged. And they said, "Oh, this was so-and-so. This was this type of person." And so they ignored them. Maybe there was some past. They were in arguments like the old Hatfields and McCoys, right? We don't deal with those people. But the Samaritans simply saw a person. They saw themselves. They were compassionate because that person, the Samaritan, recognized there was some point in their life that they needed help and someone else helped them. And they're not just doing it out of guilt, they're doing it out of the love and the compassion. Now think about that. How often, I mean, how easy it is to maybe give some money to somebody on the street. But this gentleman stopped and cared for the wounds of somebody. Didn't stop there. And then he transported the wounded man to get some more help for rest, and then offered to pay for that. And then said, if there's anything else basically this person needs, give it to them and I will repay you on my way back. Now, I do believe there are instances all happening like that all the time. We're not going to necessarily see them on the news channel, but I hold those in my consciousness and I try to find those stories to keep myself so they surround me in my consciousness to remind me that there are good people out there, of course. And that is if I want good people to be out there, my responsibility as an individual then is to be one of those people. And it's easy to feel overwhelmed because there's a lot of conditions happening in our world right now that draw us to feel separated, to a them and an us kind of mentality. And yet there's many ways to engage in the world that exist around us right now that we can step up and be that compassionate love for someone else. If we look around at just around where we live, in our own spiritual centers, if you don't have a spiritual center around you, maybe there's a study group, but there are tons of ways that we can volunteer to help others that are, we'll call them less fortunate, maybe not as aware and awake, and we can be that light for them. The stretch is, though, to reach out and relate to those who we may not readily think of relating to. I know there was a story where it's easy to be nice to those that are nice to us. It's easy to help those that we're comfortable with. But we really grow and see kind of where we're at consciously when we step outside of that comfort zone, when we're maybe working with a population that we're not used to, and there's many. And again, it's about being comfortable and knowing who we are and feeling safe before we do so. I'm not talking about just blindly jumping in, but doing the inner work, the inner prayer work, again, recognizing that love is already present and it's there so deeply that I want to share it with somebody else. I was thinking about this, and even in the title, it's I and you and we. Those are the three pronouns. And in what I came up with in the idea of in serving the I, meaning the individual, we cannot help but serve the you and collectively the we, because once again, it's all one. We call it the body of God, the body of spirit, the manifestations, the expressions. But as I help myself, because I know of this interconnectedness, this wholeness that exists at the core of everything, not just everyone, but everything, I can't help but serve. And vice versa, in serving the you, as I help somebody else, the other, in essence, I cannot help but serve the I, because I'm affected, and collectively, again, the we. So again, it's the yin and the yang. So no matter what we do, no matter where we're at, we're serving. And for me, I want to know that when I serve, I'm showing up in the best way possible, uniquely, authentically, in your own way. Use your time and talents, abilities that you have to serve another. Whether it's singing or playing music or teaching something, we all have gifts that we can share. Ernest Holmes says, this I wanted to share this was with regards to looking at those that maybe we're uncomfortable with. It's really easy to walk by somebody and judge them and, oh, they're just out for a handful of money, etc., or they're just going to go drink the money away. And I love this. He's not asking for money. He's asking for human kindness. Okay? If we walk by, then I would have to question myself. Can I give him a smile? Can I give this person a nod? Can I sit and ask them if they would like prayer? Right? What can I do? How can I? And that matters of how I am being. So Ernest Holmes says this: love is the only final security in the universe. Love is the greatest healing power in the universe, the only thing that binds people together in a community of spirit. And I believe truly that what we're going through right now globally is understanding a new idea of love, a different love than we've ever known before. And I think that's going to be, in the end, about releasing the fears that we have, which begin with this idea of separation, that there is an other, not just a whole. I love this quote. I love Rumi. And regarding love, he says, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. So again, here we have the whole, because he's talking about, we're not looking for it. It's not outside of ourselves. It's not in another, that which we seek. So that's why we do this inner work. As we find it within ourselves, we somehow, whether we knew it or not, set up barriers within ourselves to feel the fullness of love. And as we do our inner work, I'll call it spiritual work, we find that true love that is ourselves, that true love that God is. And then we're able to serve on a whole new level. Okay, so the third point is understanding and becoming the we. So the moment we really understand that everyone is an individualized expression of God, it calls us into a deeper understanding and practice of how we relate to each expression of the one. What does that mean? Again, if everyone one is an expression, an individualized expression, how am I relating to that one that's in front of me, that one that I'm working with, that one that's my boss, that one that's my significant other, that one that has a last name of Biden, or that one that has a last name of Trump? If we're picking sides, we're separating. It calls us to a greater compassion and a more convicted practice, which again Jesus taught his disciples. And as he taught in Matthew, he says the example, and if you're of the Bible, I want to quote the Bible here because not a lot of people know it, especially and some people do know it, but it's taught in parables. And I love parables because they're simple stories that help us relate and understand. So he says, for I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you took me in. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you visited me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and visit you? And the king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers of mine, you did for me. So in this parable, he's talking about the wholeness of God, that there is no separation, that as we say there's another and we cast them out, we cast ourselves out. And in that, we cast God out. Not truly, we don't get rid of them, but we create that barrier to feeling the fullness of God, love, joy that exists. But again, we're putting up this filter. So it's something I tend to think about all the time. I am a school counselor. So when I'm working with students, there's many times I recognize that I'm feeling resistance, negativity outside my comfort zone. And I go within and I think about this story all the time. How am I showing up? I say that I've done all this work and I'm conscious and I'm aware and I'm a loving person. Then how am I showing up? Because it's not the person doing that to me. It's my views generally of myself which I'm projecting onto the other, that's causing this idea of separation. What if this person in front of me wasn't even a stranger, Or another, what if it was a family member? Would I treat that person? Why am I treating this person differently? And this is the inner work that I'm calling us to do as a community. Okay? Don't make yourselves wrong. It takes time. I didn't become who I am overnight. And I'm sure 10 years from now, as I look back and be like, oh, I can watch this talk again and want to fix it. And that's okay, because this is an infinite world. But it's about knowing that that love is already there, even in that which we can't see it yet. That's when we pray and we say, Spirit, show me the love that you are here and now. There's I've used this quote a number of times. I just love it. It's from A Course in Miracles. And it says, if you knew who walked beside you at all times on this path that you have chosen, you can never experience fear or doubt again. Now, it was interesting going through this talk, because as I recognized this quote, I always thought when I heard this quote, thinking like someone like a master teacher like Jesus was walking beside me, somebody I couldn't see. But it hit me putting this talk together that now I recognize it again. On this path that I have chosen, everyone, do I know that God is everywhere in front of me? Every person. It's not just those that we put on a pedestal and say, oh, they know so much more than I wish I was that. But everyone that we meet, can we see them as truly as the divine without a lens of fear or doubt? That hit me powerfully. Now we talk about the separation, and within the separation, we're talking about labels often, right? Judgments. And you've probably heard this quote, and originally is attributed to a guy named Soren Kierkegaard, who's a psychologist. And he says, when you label me, you negate me. Okay. Now, I looked it up, and it's often people believe that he didn't necessarily say those words, but what it's taken from is this quote where he said, he was talking about another person. He says, put me in a system and you negate me. I am not a mathematical symbol. I am. So we take out this and we can replace this. I am not a what? And fill in the blank, whether it's a political party, whether it's a race, or whatever the word we use to limit ourselves. Now, yes, labels are important as we discuss something, right? If I'm standing next to somebody, I could be the tall person or the bald person, whatever. That's not what we're talking about here. It's labeling someone and judging them and making them smaller than they actually are, limiting that divinity within them. So I want to take a deeper reflection, as I know time's running out here. And that is to ask ourselves a question. This is a great question. What might shift in the collective consciousness if we refer to everything as ours? So what is this collective consciousness? Just talk about our own consciousness. And as we shift our own, it affects all. So what if everybody, in other words, instead of saying mine, changed everything to ours as a global community? What might shift? Right? That's a powerful question. And so here's some possibilities. That every community is our community. Every center for spiritual living is our center for spiritual living. Every mosque, temple is ours. Every person is a part of our family. Every person is one of our friends. Every country and nation are a part of our country and nation. And we are related to everyone on earth as being our brother, sister, and sibling. Powerful, right? Now, we've heard the idea of I am not my brother's keeper. I am not my sister's keeper. I am not my sibling's keeper. We've heard that in the old adage. And the reason we're not is because I am my brother. I am my sister. I am my sibling. I am my sibling. And they are me. So there's just one thing happening, my friends, and it is a relationship divinely with ourselves, and we cannot help but separate as we work on ourselves to truly do that, so that we recognize the divine first within us, and then so we can see it everywhere else. That is practical. I don't know what is more practical than recognizing who we are, recognizing our own greatness, releasing the fears and the doubts, because that frees up everything we will see and experience the world in a whole new way. Man. So I like to leave with affirmations. Affirmations are powerful. They're statements. They stay in our consciousness. The idea is to put this affirmation, write it down, put it somewhere where you see it frequently and say it frequently. It's like, if I'm going to build up some muscles, I got to do repetitions. Well, the more we do repetitions with affirmations, particularly ones that really vibe with us, it changes and helps to change our consciousness. So as we say, let's say this together. I celebrate the we, which is intimately one with all. So we got it all. I, we, and all. So remember, I'm just going to close out one more time. There are no strangers here, only friends that we haven't met. Let's take this into prayer. So I ask you just to be comfortable. And I'm going to close my eyes. Again, do what makes you happy. And recognizing that wholeness right here, as we open our mind and see that presence in ourselves, that divinity, that light, casting out all fear, all judgment, feeling the love and the joy that exists as I release those barriers, and feeling the joy and the love as I open my eyes and gaze upon another one and see them as the light and the love of the divine as well, uniquely showing up as them. This is not about copying, that we're all the sameness. No, 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 no. We bless the uniqueness of everyone. We bless our community in recognizing the beautiful relationships that we have with each other. And no matter where they're at, we welcome growth. We welcome a new level of love and friendship and compassion. Through these relationships, I see and declare that CSL St. George is growing. I see it in its brand new home, with not tens but hundreds of people showing up to do just this, to meet each other in the communion of the divine and share their love, their uniqueness with another. That is a community that can work for all, that welcomes all, that limits none. For we cast out the labels and we simply love. And let's affirm this together by saying together, and so it is.
And so it is. That was beautiful. Thank you. I really related to a lot of what you were saying, Reverend Joe. And a couple of, I think I'm probably going to mix some metaphors
That's
of
okay.
lots of people, but all I could really think of was we are who we are looking for, and that we can be what we want to see in the world. Those were the things that really popped in my mind as I was listening to you speak. So that was beautiful. I look forward to you building on that next week.
Yeah,
Yay!
me too.
Yay!
2 in a row. Let's go for it.
All right. I'm so excited for this new phase of our relationship. So
Me too.
yeah. So thank you so much. All right, everybody, we have a few announcements, I think. And the first of which is, again, a big thank you to Reverend Joe and his family for joining our community. I'm super excited about it, and super excited about getting to know them as individuals and as a family, and as Reverend Joe being our new spiritual leader. If you have questions or comments or anything for Reverend Joe, please email us at stgeorgecsl@gmail.com, and he will get them and will answer you directly. So yay, our community has expanded in such a beautiful way. And also, I wanted to say a thank you to everybody who joined us at Encircle yesterday. If you missed it, you missed a lovely day. As I read earlier, and as most of you who are part of the CSL community, you know that our global vision is a world that works for everyone. And Encircle is a youth organization to support the LGBTQ youth in St. George's community and Utah in general, and expanding beyond our state bounds, actually. People very interestingly had participated in the tour that Julie, the director, gave us, and she told her own story, and we also got to visit and have some great food that Encircle provided for us. So a partnership in creating a world that works for everyone. That's what we're getting when we support organizations like Encircle, Switchpoint, Youth Futures. We have many organizations that we have contributed to and partnered with here in St. George. So I look forward to more of those kinds of events. So we are here for you. You and I are here for each other. We have a couple of ways that you can connect and get support. One is our Care Circle. We can support you in many different ways. Somebody who's sick and needs a card or a call, or if you are in need of prayer or to help with something that's challenging going on in your life, or celebrate something that's really grand, you can send an email to prayer@cslstgeorge.org, and our practitioners will get back to you and hold you in prayer more than they already do, because they are all holding us in prayer every day, I think. And as we are here for you, we need you to be here for us as well. Your generosity through the years has kept us going and will help us grow in the future. You can contribute to financially to our community through PayPal. You can take a picture of the QR code there on the screen, and it'll take you right to our donation page. Make it super simple. Or if you're the snail mail type, we still take physical checks too. So P.O. Box 3132 at zip code 84771. We look forward to hearing from you, and just so enjoy the reciprocity of our relationship together. We have as you know, as I hope you know, we have a community conversation every Sunday on Zoom. Go to our website, CSLSG.org, and you'll see a little orange box that says access meeting links, and there's a link there, and it's also in your newsletter and Friday reminder. So we hope we've made it easy for you to connect with us. And at that community conversation, you have the opportunity to have a private individual prayer. Practitioner Mary will be there, and we can put you in a little chat box with Mary alone, and you can share a little brief prayer. So we hope you'll take advantage. All you have to do is say, I would like to pray with Mary in the chat box, and we will make that happen. And as I've said many times already in this service, Reverend Joe is here to stay. Here are the next 3 topics that he will speak on in the next few weeks. We're so excited about the continuity and expansion that having him every Sunday will bring us. I'm thrilled personally, and as a community, we have lots of great things ahead of us. Okay, so now Mr. Bill will bring us all up, and we will close with our usual closing affirmation.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Woo!
Thank you, everybody. It's been a
See you on
beautiful
Zoom.
Sunday.
Blessings, blessings, blessings.
See you soon.